Why does my car heater have a bad smell? Well, I mean, right now, while I'm making this video, it's really cold outside, so it's a pretty critical question. Because there's a lot of things that go into making the heat come out of your vents. Obviously, your engine heats up the antifreeze slash coolant. Coolant and antifreeze are the exact same thing. It just depends on what time of year it is, as to what we're calling it inside of a car. During the winter, we're obviously going to call it antifreeze. And during the summer, we're going to call it coolant, but it does the exact same function inside of the. Think about your engine heats up the water, and you've got a thermostat. The thermostat is closed, and as your engine builds up the heat, internal combustion, then it heats up the water, which heats the thermostat up to where it opens, and then it changes the cool water that's in your radiator with the hot water that's in your car. And then as that happens, because your water pump is pushing it through, your thermostat closes, and now you've got cool water inside of the motor, and it starts warming up, and you've got hot water inside of the radiator, and the fan is pulling the air through the radiator, which starts cooling down the water. And that's what happens. That's how your engine is able to maintain 195 degrees, or whatever your specific engine is supposed to be running at. So, and you've got temperature sensors and all kinds of stuff that make it to where your car, is knows what's going on, and the onboard computers and the sensors and everything else. So you've got, separate from that, you've got a different line that goes to your heater core. Most heater cores are inside of the dash, and you've got a little fan behind the heater core. Well, inside of the same box, you've got from your air conditioning system, you've got a evaporative core along with the heater core. And so when you got your heater on, it's just blowing a little valve pushes the door closed, and it makes it to where the fan is now pushing the air through your heater core. And when you're running your air conditioner, the little door flaps, and it makes it to where the air is coming through your evaporative core from your AC. Now, when you're running your defroster, then they want to take the moisture out of the air. So they run the air conditioning, makes it to where the air comes out of the moisture comes out of the air. So that's why when you hit defrost, it's actually running it through the heater core and the evaporator core. So, I mean, it sounds pretty, most of us think, it's no big deal. We turn our little knob and heat comes out. We turn our little knob and air conditioning comes out. But behind the scenes, it is a big deal. And it's a very intricate system. And there's a lot more that goes into it than what most people understand. So, since your heater core and your evaporative core are inside the same box, and you're taking the moisture out of the air with your HVAC, your air conditioning system, then that builds moisture inside of that box. And of course, moisture means mold and mildew. Mold and mildew is, that's not good for you, obviously. And it can build up inside the heater, the ventilation, the air conditioning, the HVAC system. So we definitely need to make sure that stays cleaned out, that stays, the mold and mildew and everything, gets killed. There's special chemicals that your automotive repair store can get into there to kill it. And obviously that's not going to smell good. And obviously there's all kinds of other things going on. Now you're smelling the chemical for a while. Because that's unfortunately, it's just part of life. They try to minimize that to the best of their ability by allowing your car to run a long time after they put it in there. But that is, would you rather have mold? Would you rather have mildew or a little bit of residual smell of the chemical that they put in there to clean it? So you can have a musty, damp, or earthy smell when the heater's turned on. The odor will hopefully dissipate a little bit after the system's been running for a while. So, the air is passing through the moist environment, and mold spores can literally form. So again, you need to be careful of that. So if your car has a cabin air filter, minimum of once a year over 15,000 miles, you need to replace the cabin air filter no matter what it looks like. Now, I'm going to qualify that with, if you own a home, you've got inside your house, you've got air filters for your heaters and your air conditioner. And I know people that change them 4 times a year, and it's inside the house. I know people that change them, twice a year, but it's inside the house. I don't know of anybody that goes once a year. At least twice a year, everybody's replacing the air filter inside of their house and their HVAC and or their heater. So if that's the truth, and those are inside, again, I don't care what your cabin air filter looks like. It needs to be replaced at least once a year or 15,000 miles. The antibacterial sprays are designed for HVAC systems to kill mold and bacteria. They need to be put in there. You need to run the fan without the air conditioning periodically to dry out the system. And depending on where you're living, I mean, think about some of the hot, humid climates that are. You got to consider having a trusted automotive repair shop of your choosing to, keep up with the HVAC cleaning process. It literally, some of the people say that running the air conditioner on defrost setting occasionally to reduce the moisture buildup. Well, that'll reduce the moisture buildup in the heater system, but it's not going to reduce the moisture in the HVAC system. So be careful with that one. If your cabin air filter actually does get dirty, it can clog, it can smell bad by itself, and it can have reduced airflow from the vents. So you need to replace the actual air filter in the engine once a year for every 15K minimum, and if you have a cabin air filter, you need to replace it at once a year every 15K, and buy good ones beyond a shadow of a doubt. So if you get a burning smell from the heater, it could indicate like a dust buildup. It could be an electrical issue. If it's an electrical issue, you need to not drive your car even a little bit. Because that can asphyxiate you. You can have oil and fluid leaks, that are dripping onto the engine or the exhaust system, and it can produce. So if you have 2 different settings on your air conditioning heater system. One is recycle. So you're recycling the air that's inside the car. That doesn't mean that you're not getting air from outside, but it minimizes that. And then it's not recycling the air that's inside your car, and it's pulling air from outside the car. So, and have to be aware of which setting you've got it on. Is it on recycle or not? Because that's a big deal. And it just might be a fire outside, 3 blocks over that you don't know. Something might, that you're smelling. So, but this is where you really don't want to be taking any chances. If your smell is intensifying when you accelerate, if it's not going away, like you went through a burning building that was, you can't see or whatever, as far as, 3 to 5 blocks over. Is there any visible smoke? Is there, just be really careful with the electrical wiring. Okay. And then if you have infrequent use of the heater, it allows dust and other things to get in there. And, it can definitely lead to a temporary burning smell. But that the fluids leaking on, coolant leaking or anything like that. Wow, that's not good on any level. So of course you need to bring it into the automotive repair store and have it checked out. You need to bring it in at least twice, if not three times a year, like every 4 months to have your vehicle checked out anyway. We really take it for granted nowadays that cars just keep going and going and going, but nothing can be further from the truth. They need to be maintained properly. So, and depending on where you live, and I've coached, automotive repair shops all over the country, and in certain areas, rodent and mice, pack rats, all kinds of stuff can act. They will literally go in there and they will build nests in your car, in the engine compartment, under your dash, in your dash. Of course, they leave behind droppings, urine, food debris. It's not pretty. So if you get any kind of smells of decay or urine, anything, you need to get it in, because they're going to be chewing your wires. And when they start chewing your wires, that gets so expensive. And it's so not fun to clean up. Just, be aware. So rodents are attracted to warm, sheltered spaces, especially during the colder months. And the HVAC system provides an ideal nesting spot. I don't know how to say that any better. So definitely park in the garage, covered area where possible. Don't leave food in your car. Do not leave food or wrappers in your car. Use the same policies that you're going to use for your house, for your car. You're not going to be leaving food hanging out in your house, or you're going to get mice. That's pretty much supposed to be common sense. I know some people leave, dirty dishes and stuff like that hanging out. I'm not us. We're not taking the chance. Why take the chance? Once they're in, it's no fun getting them out, right? You can have exhaust fumes leaking into the cabin, where you're driving. You can be smelling fuel. You can be smelling exhaust. Again, are you getting the air from inside? Or are you getting the air from outside? Are we cycling? Are we not? Are you getting any symptoms of dizziness, headaches, nausea while driving? Increased engine noise or reduced fuel efficiency, corrosion, damage, loose connections in the exhaust can cause leaks, faulty seals. All kinds of things, right? So again, you need to get it in and get it checked out. Coolant can be leaking. Now, if your heater just quits working, then you probably got a coolant leak, or you've got all kinds of different things. It could be the fan motor, it could be the onboard computer system that's controlling it, could be. But it also could be just a simple coolant leak. And one of the first places that the coolant doesn't get to is your heater core, because it tends to stay a little bit above the motor inside the dash. And of course, that's where it's going to leak out of first. Again, depending on the car that you're driving and all kinds of variables. There's no true one size fits all in the automotive industry. The heater core can be getting a leak. If the heater core gets a leak, then it can actually dump a film up onto your, out of your vents onto you. And or if you're running the defrost, it'll dump it right onto your windshield, and it will make it where you can't see. It puts a greasy film on the windshield like there's no tomorrow, and it's really difficult to see through. It's really difficult to clean. Reach down and touch your floorboards. See if there's any coolant hanging out. You need to regularly replace the cabin air filter. You need to run the system regularly, even during the summer months, just to keep everything moving. You need to keep the interior clean. You need to inspect for leaks and damages at least 2 or 3 times a year, 4 times a year, bring it into your automotive repair shop. You need to have the automotive repair shop, use the antibacterial sprays and treatments, into the HVAC system. Park strategically. Another thing that you can do that I've recommended with, especially with the pack rats, is putting rock salt on the edge of your property because they smell the salt, the wiring, and they think it's salt. That's why they start chewing on your wires. So if you just keep salt on the edge of your property away from your house, it's a really great way to prevent them coming in and wanting to chew on your car. Main thing though is to get and keep a automotive repair store that you trust and that will, take care of your car on a regular basis, get to know you and your car. It's a big deal. And I would really like it if everybody built a beautiful relationship with trust both ways with your automotive repair store. That's what it's all about.